Hi, I'm Hannah, and I've always been fascinated by Peterborough Cathedral, so when BBC Radio Cambridgshire asked me to dig a little deeper, I delved into the archives. Evidence of a boundary ditch and monumental stonework may indicate a substantial building such as a temple or monumental arch. I'm honestly surprised that something from the Roman era was still in one piece when this information was recorded. The Roman period happened thousands of years ago, all the way back to 27 BC. In 870 AD, the monastery was destroyed in an invasion which was caused by some Vikings. A relic of the original church, named the Head of Stone, is still displayed in the cathedral today, from over 1100 years ago. An important part of the cathedral's history is the arm of St. Oswald. In the year 1000, a monk from Peterborough wanted to gain favour, so he stole the arm of St. Oswald from Bangburgh Castle and took it back to Peterborough Abbey. As you do. Oswald was the king of Northumbria from 634 to 642. During a feast in his honour, a group of starving beggars arrived at his home. Instead of turning them away, or killing them, as other rulers have done, Oswald gave his large silver dish piled high with boar and deer's meat to them. A bishop was so impressed by this unselfish act, he prayed that Oswald's arm, which performed the kind act, may never decay. To this very day, the arm still remains a primary relic of Peterborough. Unfortunately, one of the many fires that happened here, one broke out on August 4th, 1116. Most of the monastery and the town were burned down. It was supposedly caused by an unattended fire in a local bakery. Something that I do find rather amusing is that a bakery fire that burnt down most of Peterborough in 1116, and then in 1666 the Great Fire of London happened, again caused by a bakery fire. Maybe the number 6 is just unlucky. Or maybe it's bakeries in general. But 2 years later, in 1118, the replacement monastery began rebuilding. This is now the current cathedral building we all know today. In 1150, in order to pay for the new monastic church, Abbot Martin de Bec created a new market area. The monks also created new commercial streets, helping the first new town development in Peterborough. This is effectively the same street plan as the city centre, which most people will now know as Queensgate. Picture yourself sitting in history class in Year 7 learning about Henry VIII. Remember a dude called Cardinal Wolsey? Great. Well, when he was exiled back in 1530, he spent Easter at the monastery. I feel a bit bad for him, actually. Wolsey was supposed to get Henry VIII an annulment from his wife, Catherine of Aragon, but was denied by the Pope. Failing to do this made Wolsey lose approval from Henry, and instead of killing him, like Henry normally would have done, all he did was exile Wolsey. How kind, right? When Catherine died in 1536, she was buried in the monastic church. When Henry decided to bury her at the cathedral, he was probably hoping that the townsfolk would just ignore her and leave it be. Not us Peterborians. Annually, on January 29th, we hold a festival in her honour. The programme includes a performer. She wears a costume designed specifically to look Tudoresque. Another thing that we do is perform some Spanish dances and play some Spanish music as an homage to her home country. During the English Civil War in 1643, when Colonel Oliver Cromwell took the town, the cathedral sustained severe damage. Fun fact, actually, Cromwell's daughter lived in the nearby village of Northborough with her husband, John Crosby, in the Northborough Manor. Most of the cathedral was burned down or destroyed in the process. In 1666, the last bout of the plague tore through Peterborough. Unfortunately, Simon Gunton, the parish priest, was left to bury a third of his parishioners after the cathedral clergy fled to avoid affection. When the central tower underwent refurbishment for the second time in the 1880s, the cathedral suffered some minor damage and caught on fire again. Another fire broke out in the south transept of the cathedral back in 2001. The cathedral had to go under major restoration to restore it to its glory we can still see today. Even today, in the 21st century where technology rules our lives, the cathedral still follows its traditions from centuries ago. These traditions include daily worship for those who are interested. The cathedral is actively involved in the community with performances, public events and education programmes. Well, that was the first 903 years of Peterborough Cathedral's history. Who knows what the next 903 years will look like? Will the cathedral still rise above the city in 2944? Perhaps.